cyclones. I remember very well, I'm looking at colleagues from Samoa, Cyclone Pan, that devastated Vanuatu in 2015. Large cyclones in only 4 years. Each of them, due of Aceh in Indonesia, basically killed 220,000 people. The 3 cyclones I've just referred to each caused between 20 and a report that the World Bank is releasing to basically reduce the impact of those tropical cyclones and other. After these welcome remarks with some keynote speech by the Honorable Aiyaz.
Ladies and gentlemen, of course, it's a milestone, this particular COP event, because it's the first time you have a small island developing state that actually has been given the presidency. And as we've said earlier on, that the fact that Fiji has the presidency as a small island developing state, in particular from the Pacific, but the fact that it's being hosted in Germany goes to show the level of collaboration that we can have between a developing country and, of course, a developed country. And I think symbolically that's quite powerful. But it also goes to show how we need to be able to work together to be able to find solutions to many of the climate change issues that we do face. Also, I'd like to thank the World Bank for this invitation. Calling for action on climate and disaster resilient transport and SIDS for small island developing states is timely because climate change is not a distant threat. It is already happening, as France has already highlighted the fact that it's already happening in Fiji, in the other Pacific Island countries, of course, as we saw recently, it happened in the Caribbean, and of course it's happened in other bigger island states like Indonesia and in the Indian Ocean. Climate change, of course, from this perspective, it affects our lives, our infrastructure, especially the transport assets. Transport, of course, ladies and gentlemen, is very, very critical in respect of ensuring that our economies keep on functioning and for the provision of services to our communities. It connects towns and cities, it connects islands to other islands, it connects rural areas to urban areas. And of course, when we talk about transport, we're not only talking about boats and cars and minibuses, we're also talking about things like roads, bridges, jetties, and all of the other amenities that's linked to it that goes towards ensuring that the transport sector actually remains functioning and functional. Ladies and gentlemen, the frequency, of course, of the climatic events that we are seeing now, the intensity of it, the erratic behavior of it, and of course the manner in which actually it occurs is a cause for alarm. And notwithstanding the fact that most small island states, Pacific Island states in this particular instance, have a negligible carbon footprint, they are the cold face of climate change. So therefore there is an important need to actually build resilience, not just into an economy overall, to be buffered by the various shocks, whether it's the global financial markets, but it's also in terms of, for us, in respect of the shocks that you get from climatic events. And we need to be able to build that resilience into the transport sector, in our case, as that picture actually shows. Now, with climatic events, of course, you have other problems that go along with it, and that is, of course, it has the ability to completely slow down the economy, to go into negative growth rates. As France highlighted, the number of initiatives that Fiji undertook with the Help for Homes initiative and also some of the financial provisions made by the Superannuation Fund actually propped up the economy. So the economy actually grew at a positive rate of 2%. It slowed down, nonetheless it continued to grow. And that initial injection of capital is very, very important, in particular after such a traumatic event, both to personally but also for the economy too. We've also seen from Fiji's perspective that we've already moved 3 villages to higher ground. There's another about 43 villages to be moved to higher ground. Apart from the fact that there's impacts such as on sustainable livelihoods, it also creates issues in respect of transportation. How do we actually get people connected? If you're going to have coastal villages, they may be connected by boats, but if you're suddenly going to move them up on hills, then how do they get down from there to the coastal area where they used to have the boats? Do we now need to have a jetty? These are the many sort of holistic manner in which we need to address these issues. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we have, on the other hand, we need to build smarter infrastructure, an infrastructure that is actually focused on the future. We have had in Fiji, for example, a tradition of whenever we built roads, we used to put the water pipes underneath the roads, as opposed to putting water pipes on the side of the roads. So if there's a water leakage or the pipes get old, you need to replace them, you actually have to damage one infrastructure to fix up the other one. You actually have to dig up your road, your nice beautiful road, to fix up your water pipes. So we have, for example, in our instance, we have built a 4-lane road getting out of the Nandi International Airport, which is the major gateway to Fiji. And in doing the 4-lane roads, we've now put everything, firstly, taken them all out from underneath the roads, put them on the side of the road. We've also now done things like underground cabling of electrical cables. So next time there's a cyclone, there's nothing to blow down. And of course, it does not stop your transportation, because generally when electrical cables blow down, they actually blow down on the roads. So you cannot pass on the roads, apart from the fact you no longer get electricity. So again, to build resilience, it costs money, of course. To do the underground cabling in the 4-lane road costs us about $20 to $30 million more. But the reality is, next time there's a cyclone, there's nothing to blow down. When we had Cyclone Winston, 6,000 kilometers of electrical cables actually fell down. They've all gone back up, but hopefully if we don't, next time when there's a cyclone, they don't get blown down. So you keep on doing up, down, up, down. It does not make any economic sense. So again, I mean, many of these transport issues, of course, need to be linked in with the financial capacity. And this is my plug for the green bond. Fiji has, of course, raised for the first time a green bond issue. We're the third sovereign to do so, the only emerging economy to do so, the only one in the southern hemisphere to do so. And the green bonds, the funds raised from that, will go specifically into climate-related matters, whether it's adaptation or mitigation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, of course, in terms of building resilience, we need to be able to ensure that we are able to cater for the future. We need to build for the future. I was in a panel discussion a few days ago, and there were some amazing statistics that was given out that said the value of the infrastructure very soon that will actually become redundant, because it's no longer actually resilient. It's no longer got the smart solutions. It's no longer green. And because the technology is just speeding away so quickly, we need to be able to ensure that when we do build assets, those assets are actually much smarter assets that take account into that. Let me just conclude by saying, ladies and gentlemen, what this does, it brings home the point that we cannot make the artificial distinction between development finance and climate finance. As far as we are concerned, it's one of the same. You cannot say that this fund here or this project is for development purposes or this one here is for climate change purposes. Because the reality is that if you're going to build a road, you actually need to ensure that it's actually resilient too. We are, of course, at the forefront of climate change, therefore we are a lot more vulnerable. And that vulnerability requires us to be a lot more smarter. It requires us to be able to focus and integrate climate change into our transport systems, which of course is of immense value to us. Just last but not least, we also, in the past few days, we've also launched our climate vulnerability assessment that we work together with the World Bank. Now that is very important. We encourage all states to do so, because if we are able to do an assessment of the, your vulnerability, you are able to identify particular assets, you are able to identify the cost of doing that, then you can have a much better plan in respect of how you will implement it. And then of course you can work a lot better with your development partners. So ladies and gentlemen, of course we'd like to call on the international community to focus on the development of sustainable transportation systems in small island developing states. And we also would like to thank very much the World Bank for this wonderful initiative. And I hope that this provides some food for thought in your panel discussion later on. Thank you very much.